Hi boys and girls, Mrs. Miller here for your art lesson. So today we're going to be talking about letters. I know that even our youngest students at BSS have learned to write their name and make letters of the alphabet. This is my niece's name, Ruth. And you can see that I made a really beautiful picture out of her name by turning my letters into block letters. And I want to show you how to do that today. The first thing you're going to do is write your name. So Ruth's name is a fairly short name. If your name has more letters in it, then you might want to just use your initials. That would be the first letter of your first name and the first letter of your last name. You might even have a middle name that would have another initial you could put in there. I bet that a parent could help you with that. But I'm going to write Ruth's name. I'm writing it very light. Mrs. Ernst says, draw it light till you get it right. So I'm making my R. Notice how big I'm making the R on the page. That's important. And I'm going to leave a little space between the R and the next letter U, and a little space for the T, and a little space for the H. That's going to give me plenty of room to go back and make the letters fat. Okay, so when I start, I've got just a highlighter marker. I chose purple because my niece Ruth really likes purple. And so I'm going to go over my letters one time. It's a squeaky marker. Now, the trick is we're going to do it 2 more times, but we keep moving out a little bit. We put our marker right down next to the first line and we pull it down. So I didn't leave any space, but I didn't go over the first line. I kept going, and I'm going to do it again. Look how nice and wide that is. The curves are a little bit tricky. So I'm going to do it once on the inside, and I'll color in a little bit where it didn't quite fill in. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'll just go back and color in a little bit. And then on this part, I can fill it in. Do you see how nice you did that? So I'm going to do one more letter. I start 1, 2, 3 on that line. And on this line, 1, 2, 3. Okay? I'm not going to do her whole name. You get the idea of what to do, and you can do it on yours. You can use any color highlighter that you might have at home. And guess what? If you don't have highlighters, crayons will work really well to do this. You might have to color in a little bit for them, but they will work just fine too. Okay? Now, I had a marker, a smaller marker, and I went outside the letter. I just traced around it. So let me show you. I go right on the edge, and I'm going very slowly so that I stay right on the edge and it looks nice and neat. And I'm tracing all the way around the letter. And I trace inside the letter if there's an inside part, like on the R, there's an inside part, and here's the outside of the R. Did you notice how I stopped here and then came around? My hand felt awkward, and I could tell I was gonna mess up if I didn't stop. So I stopped right there, and then I moved my hand and came down. So you always wanna keep your hand nice and comfortable. Now, I also decorated the back of my page because the name by itself was pretty, but the whole paper is my artwork. So I wanted to think, so whether you have highlighters or whether you have crayons or color pencils, add some decorations. I bet you can figure out how to make these, but if not, let me show you. For my flower, I took a center, I made a yellow center, And then I gave it some pink petals. You could use whatever color you wanted, but I did another circle all the way around. I made 5 circles, and then I just colored those circles in. So that part's easy, right? And it makes a really pretty flower. I added some leaves just because I thought, oh, I want a little green in there, and a leaf shape. Notice they're all a little different. Leaves don't have to be exactly the right shape, but I'm going to start right in between my 2 petals. I could even start right in that little crack and do a line, and then I'm going to bring a line up and a line up, and there's my leaf. And I can just color it in. Very easy to do, and I don't know, make 2 or 3 leaves on your flowers. If you do flowers, if you're a boy, you might want to do something different from flowers. I'm going to show you 2 other shapes that you could put in the back. A heart shape. Sometimes young students have trouble making hearts. Let me show you a trick. We're going to make a line, and then on one side of the line, I'm going to go up, and I'm going to come back down and meet the line. And I'm going to go up, and I'm going to come back down and meet the line. Do you see what a nice heart that made? So I made a line, up, down, and there's my heart. Now, there's one more shape. I didn't put it on here, but you might like to make it. How many of you know how to make a star? So I can make a star this way. I'm going to make an angle like that. Do you see? It's almost like a triangle, but I didn't give it a bottom. Okay? And now I'm going to make a line across the star right there. It almost looks like an A, a capital A with a long line coming across it, right? Instead of stopping in the middle, I kept the line going. And now all I do is go from the corner of the line down to the opposite corner of the angle, and from this corner to the opposite corner of the angle. How's that for cool? Okay, and if you already know how to make these stars, when you get really good at them, you can go up and down. There's my angle, but instead of making the line across, I'm going to go from there, I'm going to go up and over and down. So it makes the same kind of star, whichever way you want to do it. I hope you enjoy making your name into a piece of art.